The information on the Crypto Moon Hunters is provided for educational, informational, and entertainment purposes only. Information contained in this episode is not intended to be, nor constitutes financial advice, investment advice, trading advice, or any other advice. You should not make any decisions, financial, investment, trading, or otherwise, based on the information presented in this podcast. Seriously, these guys are idiots. Go talk to a professional broker, financial advisor, and be sure to do your own homework. The topics discussed in the show are highly speculative and ultra high risk. Never invest more than you can comfortably lose. Now here are your hosts, professionals of buying high and selling low.
Welcome to Crypto Moon Hunters. I am Crypto Mail, and with me today we have the man who just sold his grandmother's china to buy some baby Doge, Loot.
Hey guys, how's it going?
And today we have a couple different topics for you. We have a very special guest coming up in the show, talking about Spaceport Coin, now known as Spaceport Universe, and a little bit about a game called Radiant Isle. And with that, let's get into news. First up on the news, we have OpenSea, which is a popular NFT trading platform. One of the executives there was caught trading with insider info. What happens is on OpenSea, they have a showcased art, and what he would do is he would buy the art before it went into the showcase because the price would always spike.
Oh my god.
Yeah. There's so much fraud and
so illegal.
Well, and the thing is that
is it though?
It may not be illegal.
It's crypto.
Yeah, it's crypto. And that's the problem is that
what's insider trading in crypto? It doesn't exist.
Exactly. And that I hate to say it, and when we talk about something else later, crypto's going to get highly regulated because of crap like this. And I'm usually very anti-regulation. I like government stay out of my affairs. But there has to be some. I mean, and the bad thing is this stuff is going to cause too much regulation when we need that happy medium where people can't do this kind of crap. But also, you have, you're not, I don't know. It sucks, but
we need some consumer protection is what we really need. Things to protect us from insider trading and from rug pulls.
Yeah.
And if we can get those two things, I think that's enough.
Yeah, we don't want too much.
That's a win.
But people keep doing crap like this, they're going to come down like a hammer, which is bad. Moving on, we have Shiba Inu coin, SHIB. It went on Coinbase today and price spiked 11% in an hour. I didn't even see what it's up to since, but I saw that on an article.
It came back down to the world, to the ground.
One thing I've noticed with a lot of this stuff is if you see news like this, it always spikes, and you're pretty smart to sell your profit and then buy back in, because it seems like that's almost always the case.
Oh, I bought, as soon as I saw the headline, I bought, and then 20 minutes later I sold.
Yeah, it was smart. I keep telling myself, we might do a full review on some of these. I downloaded, and I still have not set up FTX US Pro, so I could do markets, buy, sell orders, because I'm just too busy during the day to watch this stuff closely. So that way I can just kind of let it do it for me. And then there was
I would love that feature in some of the apps that we do currently use.
Well, Coinbase Pro does it.
But I don't use that one. I use Coinbase regular.
But you can trade for free between the two, so.
Oh, that's a good point.
So you could actually use it. Because regular Coinbase is way too expensive. Their fees are outrageous.
Yeah, no, I end up using crypto.com because it's a little cheaper.
Right, but they don't do the market orders, which is what I've been looking for.
They don't.
So when we get plain into that, we'll definitely share our experiences. Another topic that is pretty big news is, I think we talked about this on a previous episode, Audius, which the ticker symbol is Audio. They are getting Katy Perry, Nas, and Jason Derulo to invest in their crypto music platform. They plan to be a competitor to Spotify and SoundCloud, which I think that could be really huge. I mean, really huge. Blockchain, NFTs with music has so much written all over it because they can buy and resell and get the fees from it in the smart contracts. I really think that's going to explode eventually. I do own a decent chunk of that, and I've done pretty well with it. And I plan to buy probably a lot more because I think they're good.
I did today.
Yeah, they just...
As soon as I saw the headline, I bought.
Yeah, they're...
In fact, I waited until you told me what the headline was, and then I bought.
Yeah, I really, that could be a big one. I mean, if they end up being like the go-to music platform for all these big-time musicians, that could be a really, I mean, that's a great use case for a coin. I'm sure there'll be competition down the road, but they're getting in early, and crypto's so new. I just see that being huge. Speaking of pumping, Avalanche is at all-time highs today after that $230 million token sale. So Avalanche is becoming the new Solana. It's kind of the hot thing. I could see Solana, Avalanche, really getting up there. We'll talk about Solana here in just a little bit, but Solana really took a hit, and I think a lot of that money moved into Avalanche.
It did, and then I moved it back, and then Solana dropped, and now I have to wait because if I move it again, then I'm going to take a loss, so I have to just wait it out.
Those are the ones I think the two coins I plan to do a lot, like day trading with, is Solana and Avalanche. They're just up and down so much that I really, and they're ones that if I get stuck holding them for a while, I'm okay with, because I think both of them have a pretty bright future. And the other one that's not on here that I'm really, really high on lately is Harmony One, which we'll get into in a little bit here. I think those ones could be a good purchase. And then speaking of Solana was down. Their whole network was down due to, was it a denial of service attack? I can't even remember exactly what it was.
I'm not sure what the cause was, but it was down for quite a while.
And they've lost a lot of steam due to that. Apparently this happened before, a couple years ago, before they really got huge. But this is kind of, the early days of crypto. Solana is still getting its sea legs, and it's not battle tested like Ethereum is yet. But they're a fraction of the fees, and they're a lot faster. So it's, yeah. Okay, so Solana Foundation attributed the network outage to a flood of transactions that overwhelmed the network, and they just could not stabilize the network in time. Apparently, Solana mainnet beta encountered a large increase in transaction load, which peaked at 400,000 transactions per second. So the forking led to an excessive memory consumption, causing some of the nodes to go offline.
Yeah, it just toppled over. It really killed their momentum. When this happened, it happened at the worst possible time. I mean, they were at all-time high of like $215, and it just lost like $60.
Well, apparently they had an initial an IDO that was for the Great Protocol, and it's a tool set for developers, and that when that went live, it just went crazy on their system. So it's they gotta do the Ethereum thing and grow through it, and hopefully they can fix it, move on, and they will eventually. They should get back. But this, I personally feel like this is going to be a good buying opportunity for them. They'll probably go down for a little bit, lost some of their momentum, and then they'll stabilize, and hopefully we'll see new highs later.
Yeah, I hope so.
And that's all we got for the news. So let's move on to a new Harmony One game that came out. I've been playing on the Harmony ecosystem, mainly because I wanted to explore NFTs. So been going on DaVinci, and I've been buying these different NFTs on there. A lot of them you get really cheap. So you go on OpenSea and you're looking for NFTs, everything's outrageous. And then you have high Ethereum fees. And I do the same thing on Solana. They were really cheap. They're starting to come up. Like a lot of the things you buy, you're looking at $300. A lot of these on DaVinci are $3, $2, or $20. They're all cheap. So I thought that, hey, I'll buy a few of these. I've got a few things that I buy and you can resell really quickly. Well, this game on there called Radiant Isle, which was going to be the first VR open world decentralized game, which sounded really cool. They had a great website. They had great Discord community. Really seemed like a legit project that was really good. So they started selling NFT lands. They were going to do 1,001 of them. Some of the plots were going for as high as $1,000. I think one of the biggest ones went for $10,000. And then they had a lot cheaper. You get just little plots, but they would sell out within seconds of hitting. So the other night, I was just hitting refresh over and over and over, trying to get one of these plots. And you get the cheaper ones for $100. You get a corner plot. And I ended up buying on the market, because I kept missing them. So I ended up buying on the resale market for like $180, $175 a corner plot. and then I got another one for 100, and ended up losing several $100s on the deal. But today I see an NFT that shows a picture of one of the plots of lands, and it said rugged across it. And I was like, oh no. I went to their Discord. Sure enough, Twitter's deleted. Discord, there was a message from one of the admins saying something about potentially a fight between two of the developers, potentially. But it sounds like it was just a rug pull, and everyone got screwed. There was some people that paid a lot of money. I mean, this is another thing, kind of crap, that's going to cause heavy regulation in this industry.
Yeah, it sounds like they just took the money and ran.
Yeah, which is sad because I was even speaking with the admins there about potentially having them on the show, which I'm glad we didn't, because I would have felt horrible if anybody listening to the show would have went in and bought some. But that's partly why we make this podcast. We take the risk for you, and then we get
We jump in 2 feet first.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we get hurt.
And the bad thing is some of these are getting harder and harder to tell, because this one passed all the tests. Like, everything looked legit. And granted, any of these projects this early could easily, I mean, they could have, assuming it wasn't a rug pull, they could have just not been able to get the game off the ground. I mean, that happens all the time in game development. So you are taking a risk with these. That's why when you're buying these NFT games, if you see plots selling for like $4,000, unless it's like a reputable company that's been around for a long time, use caution.
You probably want to just don't do it.
Yeah, I mean, I took, it was a couple $100s. I learned my lesson. Y'all probably be less inclined to spend more than like $50 on a plot of land, but it live and learn. Game looked really cool. I'm actually really sad that it wasn't a legit product, because it could have been awesome.
Well, maybe somebody will run with that idea and actually make a legit game.
All right, and we have with us today Eldo. He is with Spaceport Coin, being relaunched as Spaceport Universe. Appreciate you coming on the show. And if you could just tell us a little bit about what Spaceport Coin is, and tell us about the upcoming Spaceport Universe.
Well, Spaceport is a play-to-earn game that it's a Galaga-inspired, like an arcade shooter-style game, and we launched 2 months ago from a fair launch. We actually launched at about a $40,000 market cap, and we exploded way beyond we could ever imagine. So you guys can imagine what kind of problems that caused as far as scalability of the project.
Yeah.
That's mostly the reason for the relaunch. I mean, there's just so many things that were patchworked together that worked when we had 200 players a day, but they no longer worked when we had 20,000 players a day.
I know,
It's pretty incredible.
And I know quite a few people that actually play this game personally, which surprised me. So
I play. That's how I found you. I play the game all the time. The only problem I have is my wallet sometimes doesn't like to connect. But other than that, I love the game.
Yeah, your wallet not connecting is most likely a symptom of what I was talking about. I mean, there was just so many things, too many people. Yeah, we were we started on a $25 a month server, so you can imagine.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it exploded. It just went completely crazy, and we were trying to keep up with the demand, and over time, like, I just slowly fell behind. And the team, we all slowly fell behind because it was just too much. There's like little things like I was doing airdrops manually, and towards the end before I shut down trading, I was spending 10 hours a day doing airdrops.
Oh, you were doing the actual play-to-earn airdrops manually, like one by one?
Well, not one by one, but I had to sort all the data. So the data sorting and the extraction from the API, which was, sometimes could take 4 to 5 hours. And we were actually literally DDoSing our own game site while I was doing
Oh, wow.
data extraction. So
I saw on your Discord that you have a new airdrop utility that you wrote.
Yeah, we created, so I was spending towards the end also, this is another one of the symptoms, I was spending about $5,000 a day just in airdrop gas fee.
Wow.
Oh my God.
So yeah, a lot of people just think like, the coin was tanking, so they did this action like on a whim. But it actually happened during the crypto. There was a huge bear run. Like BNB went down to like 370, 380. So it was sort of a coincidence, but also you take advantage of those times to say like, all right, guys, let's shut this down. Let's chill out before everybody panics, and let's figure out how to be able to scale this to where it deserves to be at this point.
So what inspired you to make this game, and have you been, in game development prior?
Well, I've been a gamer all my life. So I've been a gamer all my life, and I've been in crypto for about 6 years. It's kind of like the perfect marriage. Like at the beginning, I really thought it was cool because I found a way to fund the game development without my own money being involved. So that's basically what it's been the whole time.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, other people fund the project basically. So it was kind of funny. We started with yeah, basically. So it was 80 BNB pre-sale on the first launch, and we launch it. Every launch is a semi pump and dump. Like no matter what, if you have any sort of hype, it's going to be a pump and dump because I'd say probably 80% of the people in Binance just want a 2x. That's all they care about. Yeah. So that's going to happen, and that happened, and we went down to like 40,000 market cap, like nothing, and I was like, man, I have 60 BNB. So this is the point where most developers probably ditch project, and people say, oh, they're rug pulling. It's not always that they're rug pulling. It's just where's the motivation? You just got your project dumped on that you're working your butt off on, and people are also calling you a scammer. So where's the motivation for people to keep going on? So what I said is that we had a group of core investors, that were all in from the beginning. And I was like, all right, guys, I have 20K. Let's do the best game we can with 20K. Let's ignore the chart. If anybody needs their money, just sell out. I mean, I'm not going to blame you because the chart's dead.
Right.
And that's basically where our team comes from now, is those early investors, because they saw the potential from not giving up. And we got up to almost a 10 million market cap. Almost 250x from where we were at the bottom. So there's people that put in 5 BNB that potentially took out 1,000.
Yeah, wow. It was. I'm one of the early players, and I didn't invest a lot, but I invested some, but I invested because I really enjoyed playing the game, and you guys actually had something kind of special going on, because if you looked at the, even though the chart, like, people like to look at charts or whatever, I'm not really too concerned about the chart. I'm more into, is it a good project? Does it have long-term, goals? Does it want to do something fun and revolutionize the industry or gaming or whatever they want to do? And you guys seem to have that special sauce. And the game is just so fun to play. One of my friends, his kid plays the game like 2-3 hours a day. And you're doing airdrops for him and his kid.
That's hilarious.
He's like, I got up to Elon today. I was like, you what? He's like, I got to Elon. He was hard. I was like, oh wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, my kid plays too, and it's funny because he says he thought Elon was me. He's like, you put yourself as a boss in the game? I'm like, no, it's not me. I guess we look similar. It was kind of funny.
That's great.
But yeah, it's not an easy game because one of the ideas.
Harder. You guys made it so much harder this last revision with the everything shooting at me. Oh
yeah, but that's the idea. Every other play-to-earn game is not like I spoke at length with a lot of gamers about it. I'm like, they're not games. They're not actually games.
No,
like it's literally click a button, and if you have enough invested, you get enough back. And then you just hire somebody to click that button for you all day. That's not a game.
And then that's
Don't call it a game. Call it staking.
Here's a weapon that you can't use. You can't do anything with it, but it's words on a NFT that say that it's a good weapon.
So instead of you buying more of the token and staking it, you're buying assets in-game and staking them in a pseudo-staking format because they say it's your playing. But, I mean, clicking a button and Yeah, clicking a button, and I hate calling it out, and I'm not going to say the name of it, but there's literally a game where you would press the play button, and then you would have to watch the battle go on. It's a play to earn game because this is how they all run. And then if you didn't want to watch the entire battle, you could just fast forward it. I'm like,
Oh,
what?
there's another
Yeah.
game that comes to mind. I won't name them either, but they're one of the popular ones. And the game, it's like you do these battles, but there is no battle.
Yeah.
You just hit start, and then that's it.
Well, and that's
Like there's no actual battle. There's no anything. It's just start.
and they make over $1 billion somehow. But yeah.
Well, that's another point that every time I get into AMA about. What people don't understand is all play-to-earn games are Ponzi schemes. The only difference between successful ones and actual frauds is whether or not the teams are thieves. But they're all Ponzi schemes because how long can you redistribute money before that isn't sustainable?
Right.
And so that's the reality of the situation. So we realized that. I actually hired an economist who's on the team, and he said the focus has to be outside revenue. If you guys don't get outside revenue, it's just going to be a Ponzi scheme over and over and over. And it makes complete sense. How long can you redistribute wealth until you can no longer get new people into the system? It's not actually creating any value. What people think it is. I had a friend of mine that asked me how much money I made for the amount of time that he spent playing. Because he literally thought that we were mining Bitcoin with his computer's resources.
Wow.
That's pretty clever.
Actually, it gave me a good idea because if that was the case, that would be a true value to it. But then people's electricity bill would be more than they actually made playing the game. So it would be a scam at the end of the day anyway.
That could be a great idea though if you found the right mining. Right coin to mine for that, but probably not possible, but would be a great idea.
Well, I mean, I have a $2,000 video card and I can mine about $30 a month in Bitcoin right now. So I don't think most people that want to do a play to earn game, and I have to spend about $80 a month in electricity.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very expensive.
Yeah, it's just not. It's no longer.
So you have some major changes coming up. If you wouldn't mind telling us about that, what happens to people like myself who owns the coins, and then kind of what do you envision happening with this big change?
Well, literally right before you guys were, I was putting together. So the last 3 days of payments, we're going to pay people out in BNB directly, so they have a chance to get back into the relaunch. And the tokens that you had previously, you're going to be airdrop proportionate to what you owned in the previous token. So a lot of people want to say like, oh, how much is it going to be at launch and this and that? But there's so many factors to that. Like it would literally have to launch and you would have to sell in a millisecond to even know what that was worth. There's going to be so much price action. And but at the end of the day, we tried to keep it as close as we could. But there had to be some dilution because we actually brought new investors into the pool. Like it's inevitable. When you bring more money into the pool, there has to be dilution for the current investors. But I don't think anyone should worry about that because here's a problem. There's some people that were like, oh, I had 10,000 in the other token. I'm like, you had 10,000, but there's 50 other people who feel like they had 10,000. If you were all to sell, there was not actually 500,000 there. Well, after the first guy sells 10,000, now everyone else's 10,000 is worth 8,000.
Yeah, it's worth slightly
So
less.
So people think that everybody owned 10,000, which that's not the case. So there's going to be some FUD about that, but I'm already prepared for that because people are going to say, "Oh, I had 2,000 and now it was 1,200 at the launch," but they're at a 3x and it's now 4,000. So and then I have to be like, "Why are you talking about what the launch price was when you're 4x from where it launched?" It actually happened on the first launch. Some guy was like, I paid 1 BNB for the buy-in, and at launch it was worth 0.7, and now it's worth 3. But why wasn't it worth 1 at the launch? I'm like, dude, you're 3x. Sell out.
It's crazy talk.
But there's so many people in this space that don't understand. Like there's another game, there's one that launched today that literally their entire pre-sale, they sold about 2% of the supply to the entire pre-sale of like, I think 15,000 BNB, 2% of the supply. The rest of it all goes to these VC funds or marketing or development or prize pool. They're just Ponzi schemes like on a huge level, these big things, but people don't understand that they're getting such a minuscule amount of the supply that there's no way to make money until they figure out that they lost all their money.
Well, and we talked about earlier in the show, I don't know if you're familiar with the Harmony 1 game, Radiant Isle, but it was an NFT game that was supposed to go, it looked promising, hadn't gone live yet, and it turned into a rug pull today. So all the NFTs just, they had 1,001 NFTs that went anywhere from $100 to $10,000 a piece, sold out, and now it's gone. So.
Well, these play to earn things are they're very vulnerable to people that are trying to get rich quick.
Yeah.
I think you just summed up the entire Binance Smart Chain.
No, I would say the entire thing. It's a large number.
Terrible.
Yeah.
There's a large number, and a lot of the people, you got a lot of very uneducated people. You got a lot of younger people. And if you put uneducated and young together, you end up getting very unrealistic expectations.
Yeah, like they get into crypto and they're like, "Why is my
oh my god, yeah,
5,000?"
why didn't I make $1,000 in 1 minute? Or when can I buy my Lambo tomorrow?
Yeah.
Why is my 50-30 now?
Yeah.
But meanwhile, BNB just had a 30% drop, so it's like,
yeah,
the people that have money know. I mean, they're not even fazed by this stuff because they've made money in crypto and they understand how this works.
I mean, the great thing about it is your project is basically like going on Kickstarter, but doing it so much faster and easier. An ability to earn money off it as well.
Like, for example, there's things about Spaceport, like it's so much easier to do a scam type of project, honestly, because it's easier to obfuscate information and just tell people, this is what you're going to get. I'm going to promise you this and promise you that. And then when it doesn't turn out, just mute everything and shut down shop and, F everybody because you all lost money. But like, we'll share like our economic sustainability reports and stuff. Like we share that information so people can look through what is really behind these games. And if you're going to play, Axie Infinity or whatever game you play, if you're thinking about a long-term investment, you have to ask yourself, where's this money coming from? And you can't say taxation. Taxation is not a sustainability because the minute you can't get more people to tax, it's no longer sustainable.
Yeah, I think games have a shelf life anyway. So for anybody that's like going to think that it's a super long-term project, how many games really go that long? For games that survive, it keeps doing, you go on to part 2, 3, 4, you add in, for lack of a better term, because this isn't like this in crypto, but maybe it could be, you get DLCs. You got to keep adding content if you want the game to keep going.
Well, you're assuming a good amount of people actually play the game for the game.
Yeah.
And that's probably a bad assumption because I don't think that that's the case. But
no, I don't think that is the case either. But if it were to survive, I think the game itself should be good too.
Well,
it's one of the factors for sure.
That's one of the things I like about your game is it's a classic style game that I don't really see, obviously games are going to ebb and flow in popularity, but you're a classic style game that's going to attract all generations probably for a pretty significant amount of time.
It's retro.
Yeah.
Who doesn't love a good retro game? And you get to shoot Elon in the face.
You should see that we have the new bosses already up. But I remember we would have times where there would be slight adjustments where it would be like maybe 10, 20% harder slower to earn. And people would just, this game's useless, worst thing ever. But while it was easy, it was like, man, this is awesome. Keep it like that. That makes the game good. It's like, it's so obvious what the intention is, but it's not everybody. Obviously, we have a huge following of people who actually play the game, even now that you can't earn while playing.
That's because it's a fun game. There's only one criticism that I have, really. It's I use my iPhone a lot. I don't always sit in front of a laptop. And I personally have a tough time playing on my 12 Pro Max for whatever reason. Just like the little knobby thing on the screen, it does like weird stuff.
Yeah, it's not a good game for mobile.
No,
We realized that.
it's
We,
not.
we hired a team to make the mobile as best they could, an actual full game studio. They did something here and there, but it's so fast paced, and there's so many tiny projectiles and tiny things to the game that it really doesn't port well to mobile, in my opinion.
Yeah, totally agree with you. When I play it with my keyboard, like just the arrows, it works fantastic with the space bar doing the super beam works really well.
If I were to play on mobile, I would definitely get one of those things that you put on, like a joystick with the buttons on it on your phone. I would
Does
definitely
that does
buy
it
one of those.
work with like an Xbox controller?
Yeah, people have figured everything out. I mean, they play tablets with a controller. There's all kinds of
I'm
things.
gonna give that a try.
But I think if you get that thing on the phone, like it opens up your screen, and I think that makes but it's still, everything's so small.
It is.
Yeah.
Like it's just not, it doesn't port well to having a tiny screen. It's almost like playing like, if you were to play like Diablo 2 on a phone, like hold it up to your eyes to see.
And
Yeah, it
supposedly
is
one
super
day in the
small.
far in the future, a Diablo game will come to your phone. It's- That's only been like 7 years in the making, it seems like now.
Yeah, I think they gave up on that after the backlash.
It's supposedly still coming, but it was a game I was very interested in that never really materialized. So why don't you, before we let you go, because I know you're busy, especially with this change, can you give us kind of what the long-term plans are to tell our audience, what to expect from the game itself?
Well, from the game itself, we have a new boss coming, a new world coming. We're implementing the NFTs so they actually have in-game functions.
Oh, like what?
So the original NFTs, there's 5 different ones. There's one that gives you Rocket Girl that flies around you and she shoots out rockets every once in a while. And then there's another one called The Fight, which will have like an airdrop, like a huge bombardment of FUD bombs that will go and cloud the screen and kill everything, I think including yourself. But if you own the NFTs, you'll be able to have those buffs in the game. So that's a cool thing. I mean, we have the casino. We have Space Drop, which is the airdrop service that we created. We're going to create a lottery system where you can buy tickets. And, we need to find ways to have people use SBC in different ways besides just selling it whenever they want to take profit.
Right. That makes sense. Great plans. The massive upgrade is going live very soon. So anybody who wants to buy the coin, they should not buy the coin right now. They should wait. Correct.
They can't.
But yeah, that's what I thought. It's like tax 99% is what I read.
Yeah, I got a lot of blowback on that because we were like, oh, you should have given us notice. If I were to give any sort of notice that I was going to do
They
something
would
like
all
that,
pulled out.
Yeah.
oh yeah, anyone I would have told would have pulled out.
Yeah.
They would have pulled out and just been like, I don't know, man. You said something about relaunching. I needed the money, so actually not telling anybody is the most responsible thing I could have done.
No, I agree. Because it would have caused a run on the coin. The people holding the coin would have lost money. So it's definitely made sense.
When is the relaunch happening?
So right now we're having a whitelist for the pre-sale. We're going to let half of it fill, 2,000 B&B fill on the whitelist, and then we'll save the other 2,000 B&B for the public pre-sale on October 2nd. And then after that, we'll give it like a two-day cool down period and get some hype on the launch because you want a lot of buy pressure on the launch. And then we're probably going to launch on 2 days after.
Awesome.
That's fantastic. Well, I can tell you I entered the whitelist contest, and I'm really hoping that I get in on it because I love playing the game and I'm into it. I think you guys did a really great job, and I, for one, am not turned off by the way the relaunch was set up, and I think you guys did the right thing.
Yeah, I think this is a very exciting project, and we hope to have you back on after the relaunch and things. Check in with you on how things are going then.
Definitely. Thank you. I appreciate the time.
All right. Well, we really
Thanks for
appreciate your
coming.
time. Thank you.
All right. Take care.
And with that, thank you for listening to Crypto Moon Hunters.
Thanks for coming and keep hodling.
Thank you for listening to Crypto Moon Hunters podcast. Please be sure to let us know how you have done with your favorite shitcoins. Also be sure to leave us a like, subscribe, and comment. All of our favorite information is listed below, along with a wallet address if you want to leave us a tip. See you next time, and keep hodling.